Hello, we are finally live. Yay! Super excited. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. This is all very new to us, but I'm so excited to be here and to share our podcast tonight with you all and with some incredible special people that I have been working with for the last 7 weeks. We have all been working really hard on our passion, on our mission, and we're really ready to share with you something that is really close to us and exciting. So we will be going through all of the people that are on this stream. So we have got Luca, Heni, Mickael, Masha, and Mel, and myself included. It will probably last under 30 minutes. We would love you to interact, say some comments, ask some questions. We can even put everyone's iTunes links at the bottom of this. So after, please go and listen to everyone's iTunes podcast and even give an amazing review. That would really, really help us. So we're going to get to it. And I think to start off, I think we're going to go and speak with Marsha. Are you happy to go first, Marsha?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Marsha is an incredible naturopathic doctor. She also is a faculty member at the International Hyperbaric Association and a past scientific committee member at the Spanish Association of Hyperbaric Medicine. Dr. Marsha speaks regularly at international venues, conferences, and seminars, and has recently launched her podcast, a Hyperbaric Living podcast. And we are so, so happy to have you here today. So Dr. Marsha, can you please tell us about your amazing podcast?
Thank you for having me, Dr. Amy. I'm really excited to be here and even more excited to launch my podcast, Hyperbaric Living with Dr. Marsha. This podcast is going to be about the benefits of hyperbaric therapy and the integration of hyperbaric therapy with other modalities in the world of natural health. I find that information is the key. We all lacking information. I mean, there's so much information out there, but at the same time, not that much quality information that can help us make the right decision when it comes to our health. And hyperbarics is something that I'm passionate about. It's the modality that I've been studying for the past 8 years. I've seen amazing results, incredible results. And I want this therapy to be available to even more people. So this is the mission for this podcast, is to spread the awareness, spread the information, to inspire other people to look further, to keep searching, to never give up when it comes to their health, to set the goals and work towards the goals. I'm planning to have experts in the field. Luckily, I know quite a few of them personally, so it's meeting old friends and discussing therapy that we are all passionate about, but also featuring people who have experienced the benefits of hyperbarics themselves, patients, parents. There are various communities out there who, athletes, regular people like you and me. I've experienced the miracle of hyperbarics myself, so I definitely am going to share my story. It's going to be real stories behind real people.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I've had a chance to listen and even be on your podcast, so I know how good it is. But for people that don't know even what the word hyperbaric is, could you just give us a small explanation so people can understand what it is?
Absolutely. So hyperbaric therapy is, if you resume it to 3 words, it's oxygen under pressure. So a person is in the environment with increased atmospheric pressure, and what it does, it increases the amount of oxygen that is available to the cells and tissue. And that sets the cascade of healing on so many levels. Naturally, there's 21% oxygen in the air, and that's as much as we can get provided that our hemoglobin is functioning well. But once you go under pressure, that oxygen starts dissolving in plasma. So when it's dissolved in plasma, there's more oxygen available, plus it can get through small capillaries that will not allow for hemoglobin molecules to get through. We need oxygen. We can't live even several minutes without oxygen. We need it to produce energy. We need it for healing, but also pressure itself has the effect on the body. So it helps with stem cell mobilization. It pumps up immune system. It's good for any kind of trauma that happened in the past. I mean, the possibilities with this therapy are endless, and people need to know about it, because this is the real tool that we can have in our hands to become the healthy versions of ourselves. And to me, and this is all, I live for. This is my passion, to see that transformation in health.
Yeah, we can definitely see that you're passionate about it, and you're also obviously a wealth of information and knowledge. How many years have you been researching and working in this field?
It's been 8 years. It's been 8 years, and I'm really excited about the interviews that are about to come out on this podcast, because I'm learning as well. Never stop learning, and I'm learning from this amazing guests who are a wealth of information when it comes to hyperbarics.
Yeah, amazing. And how often are you thinking that you're going to be publishing content?
So the episodes are going to come out every Wednesday, once a week.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing everything. We love what you do, and please go and check out everything with Dr. Marsha. We'll make sure there's some links below, and we'll move on to our next guest, which is Heni. There you are. There's Heni. So Heni is a dreamer, a visionary, and a creator whose passion is to help women heal collectively. Her personal journey has been to free herself from oppression as a woman in a patriarchal society that's been filled with troubles and tribulations, that has helped her become more compassionate. And a new podcast is out, which is called Addicted to the Man, which sounds very interesting. Please tell us more, Heni.
Well, Addicted to the Man is a podcast dedicated to uncovering the hidden forces that shape our behavior and ultimately keeps us playing small and play little and really stuck in our own ways. And it's based on a premise that the human suffering, is because of the belief of not enoughness. And when we peel the layers more and more, we can realize that not enoughness may be linked to the addiction to the approval of the man. And in that case, who is the man? The man could be an actual person, a father figure, or society, the patriarchy, or most likely the combination of both. And so this podcast is designed to give us a safe space where we can really let our guards down and open up to authentic, vulnerable conversations and really get to the root of this and have acceptance, acknowledgement, understanding, and awareness. But I don't want us to stop there, because that keeps us in the loop if we just stop acknowledging. What we need to do is move into radical self responsibility. We need to take responsibility for ourselves, to changing this paradigm for ourselves and for the society at large. And so my mission and vision with this podcast is that we can normalize true authenticity and true rawness, and really look into the eye of what it is that we're looking at, and be true to ourselves and take responsibility to change it for ourselves and for others.
This sounds so juicy. It sounds like it will, as you said, like you're going to be really raw and vulnerable, and you can just tell by the topic that it might, touch the edges of people's comfort zone. Is that the type of podcast this is going to be?
Absolutely. If I can get out of my own way, because I obviously have the addiction to the approval. So that means for me is that I always play the role of the good girl, who doesn't ruffle any feathers, who doesn't, make anyone mad, or maybe even I just want to please everyone. And with this podcast, I'm really pushing myself as well to not do that and be able to stand by my own beliefs. Not to say that I have a set of beliefs and this is what I'm sticking to. I honestly just want to expand my perception, and I want to do it collectively.
Oh, wow. And I think the reality is you're putting something out there that's raw. You said you're being really transparent. You're doing it with an open heart. And it takes a lot of courage. Over this last 7 weeks, we've all been working so hard to do these things, and we've all been out of our comfort zone. And the fact that you're sharing something that's even like that raw, that it takes even more bravery. So, if you're watching live, I can see there's a few people watching live. Give us a thumbs up, share this with your audiences. We need all the support. We're doing this not for ourselves. We're all doing this because we have a mission, right, Heni? Like, you have a mission, a burning desire that's in you, that you want to share this message, and you want to help other people from your story have a transformation and heal those parts of themselves. So I've already listened to your podcast. It's amazing. Please make sure that you go and check out Heni's podcast. All the links will be down below after this is finished. So thank you so much, Heni.
Thank you.
We will now move on to Melissa. Just moving you across, honey. So Melissa is a popular known as the sleep stylist. She graduated in university as a broadcast journalist. So this is very familiar to you, Melissa, and is now a sleep science consultant and airline and corporate wellness advisor. Her new podcast is called Sleep Well Around the World, because you've obviously traveled a lot, right, Mel?
Yes, it's one of my greatest passions.
So tell us more about your podcast. What are you sharing?
Well, of course, civilization has existed for thousands of years, and sleep is a global human experience. However, even up to now, with all the scientific breakthroughs, there are still so many things that we need to learn about sleep. And through the years, there's so many discoveries happening. And it's only the last few decades, for example, that they found out that there's actually a glymphatic system in our brain. And this is the miracle that happens during our sleep, wherein we have this housekeeping function in our brain, and it clears out all the accumulated toxins. And there are so many other things also related to sleep, such as our dreaming, and also the fabulous things it does to our body, such as helping us with our immunity, giving us extra energy, and boosting up our productivity and alertness throughout the day. However, it's sad to say that there is a severe debt happening globally right now, and this is what we can say is a sleep debt. Especially now with a global health pandemic going on. The Sleep Council has found out that 75% of people in the world are now having sleep problems. So now more than ever, we really need it. Because if we quantify lack of sleep on a personal level, for example, it can definitely cause a lot of chronic illnesses such as diabetes, heart problems, and of course, immunity disorder and neurodegenerative diseases. But if you think about it on another or bigger scale, it's also attributing to major accidents happening, injuries happening. And if you think about it economically, for example, in the United States, loss of sleep contributes to a loss of $18 billion annually. So we need to get our sleep back on track. And with this podcast, I'm so happy to say that even though I did graduate and certified as a sleep science coach and also in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, I don't only want to look sleep from a medical vantage point or a scientific point of view, but I feel that to look at it from a cultural perspective on a very personal level, on a very granular level, is something super interesting. And that's why I called it Sleep Well Around the World, because actually I like to talk to people from different cultures, from different industries. And lately, I've been happy to say I've had so many people on from the entertainment industry, business, from the field of medicine, from the field of education, and I'm constantly learning from them. I always love to ask them, what is a day in their life like? And I love them to share their secrets of their nighttime routine. Because in all actuality, Dr. Amy, some people out there don't really know that good sleep starts as soon as we wake up. So in this podcast, I'm going to also, what I coined the phrase, debunk the bunk. I'm going to bust some myths out there that people have accumulated through the years about sleep. But aside from those great interviews where we're learning so much, for example, how love scams, fights with our boyfriend or our spouse or our friends, or financial woes, or social media anxiety, so many things can contribute to a lack of sleep. So we think that we're just closing our eyes, but actually sleep is so interesting. So many things happen. And I love to get insights on everyone's nighttime routine. I feel that I'm a sleep geek, constantly researching about sleep and seeing how it contributes to someone's overall well-being. And in my podcast, I also love to share original affirmations for specific situations that we undergo. Sometimes we have built up resentment. Sometimes we have built up stress, or some have traumatic disorder. I love to create these original affirmations to help people get a better night rest. And another one also is what I call sleep stylist slumber stories, which are fairy tales that I've curated. Typically, they're classic folk tales from different parts of the world, such as Denmark, Italy, Japan. And if you think about it, folk and fairy tales are not just for kids. Since the 17th and 18th century, aristocrats have been sharing stories, magical stories among each other. And it helps us with having love, wisdom in our life. So reading these stories is something that gives me so much joy. And I'm hoping that accompanied by very inspiring and soothing music, it can help people be more calm at night.
I can so imagine listening to your podcast on a flight traveling around the world and getting all this information. Is there some parts that you said with the stories, is the aim to help people sleep, like when you're telling the story?
Yes, definitely. So it's like taking the listener to a journey of imagery. So Dr. Amy, I'm sure you know, and a lot of us know that sometimes when you switch off the light and it's dark, and there we go, that's when our racing mind just kickstarts. And we're thinking of all the frustrations, disappointments, and worries of the day. And sad to say, we become on a hyperactive mode. But if we keep ruminating on those problems and trying to sink in those negative thoughts in our mind, then it makes it harder for us to relax. So the point of fairy tales, and now it's becoming very, very popular too, is to make a pleasant distraction. You know, just hearing those words, once upon a time, it has a sort of magical, hypnotic, and calming effect on us. Since time immemorial, thousands of years ago, fairy tales have been a part of our life and indeed our childhood. And it puts us at a time that we feel safe. And safety is so important when you sleep. You need to create that safe, calm, happy environment. And you just need to detach and forget about the worries of the day. So that's the main purpose of those fairy tales.
Oh, it's so exciting. I love it. And again, you can tell how passionate about it you are, and you know, how much you've traveled. And so you're going to have so many different cultural perspectives, which I think I will find really, really interesting. So thank you so much. Please go and check out Mel's podcast. Again, the links will be down below. Thank you so much, Mel. We'll go on to our next guest, which will be Mickael. So,
hello, Dr.
Mickael, hello. So,
Hey.
Mickael has dedicated his career to a question: how can we leverage our collective intelligence to create a better future? He specializes in helping companies transform from a conventional pyramid model where all decisions are made at the top, which we know very much about, to more networked and agile organizations in which power is decentralized and people are empowered to take action. And his show is called Pyramid to Circles. I love the name of your podcast. It's so intriguing. So please tell us more.
Yeah. You know, I just heard the previous presenters, and it's a lot about personal transformation. It's like we are becoming more and more aware that we need to transform at the individual level, but we also need to do it at the collective level. And especially now, we are in this time of very high uncertainty. You know, think of the pandemic and what's happening in the economy, and we all feel it. And the thing is, it's complex because no one is having the answer. Like no one has the solution. But that's more, we all hold one end of the rope, but there are so many hands of the rope. So how can we become more, as collective, as society, and as organizations, more intelligent? How can we use more our collective capacity to face this complexity? And that's a new skill to learn collectively. So that has been my passion for the last 15 years. And I do it in the field of organizations. And it's important because organizations, company, they are building the solutions for tomorrow, you know, a better society, a better products, better services that will help us navigate through the future. So, but for that, they need to make this shift and themselves have be plugged and take their decision in this level of consciousness by using more their own collective intelligence. So that's what that's what this podcast is about. It's about meeting with people who are one step ahead in this journey from pyramid, that is maybe the conventional model, to a more networked, more collective intelligence based type of organizations. And the people in the show are people who took this journey. They are leaders, business leaders, the change makers, or they are maybe authors or consultants, or people we have something to share, a story or an insight that would help those who are today maybe leading companies or leading organizations and are wondering how to do my next step. How can I, evolve toward that? And they're wondering how to do it. So the show is a place for them to get inspiration and stories that would help them, make the next step.
And the word decentralized is so common right now, right? With everything that's going on in the world, and people wanting to join that collective that is so needed, the information that you're putting out there. And I think people that are listening that work for a company, they're probably going to want to listen to your podcast and share it with their employer, right? Hint, hint, just have a listen to the way it should be done. So it will be great. Are you hoping that this is really gonna affect those change makers and bring on some actual physical action and change in people's lives?
I think that today there is no recipe, and being more smart, intelligent together is it's a challenge for society. For times, it's an innovation challenge. We need to know. We don't really know how to do it. So if you think back in the past, there are field of studies. We have learned, for instance, if you think of the body, you're a doctor. So we have studied, we had time to kind of understand and reach a certain point of understanding, and then we can have an impact and heal. But when it comes to society, groups, collective, we are still learning. So this is a science that is completely new, and we start to understand it. We start to understand that collective have there are some patterns. For instance, when it comes to taking decisions. Taking a decision, we used to take decision either the boss takes a decision, or then we don't have much options. So sometimes we use consensus. So we find out we need to all agree. But if you're a lot of people, that takes forever, and then we try to accommodate everybody's preference, and that's not so optimal, that's not efficient. So how can we at the same time be collective and efficient? Because we need both. So those two, so there are tools and methods, and we can call them social technologies. Like there are ways to do that, but they are not obvious. So I believe it's possible. We need to learn, and I think any change agent or any leader needs to know those techniques or those methods, those approaches. Although this field is completely new, and the values of the show are transformation. This is all about transformation, learning, because we have to learn. Everybody has to learn, and connection, because I want to connect with the people. The human beings that are in the story and understand their journey, understand the challenge they've been through, and how it has changed themselves, how they grow and evolve themselves, as they let it. So yeah, that's what we're going to have on the show. We already have a few episodes with great speakers, with different companies, are representing different companies, but also some thinkers, like really at the forefront of this field. So yeah, if you're interested, please join. I hope they will find some answers and inspiration there.
Yes, I'm sure we will. And how often are you looking to put content out?
Well, for now we do twice a week, so I want to continue on this basis.
Amazing. Hard work, definitely. And obviously, again, you're extremely passionate about it. And we really do wish you all the success, Mickael. And please, everyone, check out Mickael's podcast. So we're going to go on to our next speaker, which is Luca. So Luca is a student of music and arts, and having toured for 20 years as a musician, sharing the stage with some great people that I absolutely love, the Jungle Giants. Yet he enjoys nothing more than sharing ideas which explore the human condition, opening new avenues of communication, and strive to better our world, be that in a practical fashion or from finding new perspectives on reality. And his show is called Face the Strange. That sounds very, like, again, intriguing. Why is it called Face the Strange, Luca?
Yeah, that was the plan, to just sound like something you don't know what it's going to be. But basically, it's the podcast itself. Thank you, Amy, by the way, for having me. It's I think the podcast is about change, whether that's change on a personal level, personal transformation, like Mickael just spoke about, or change in the world at large, and how through relating to one another, whether that's noticing differences or actually looking at it from another perspective, seeing how we're all similar, how that can sort of come about naturally, hopefully organically, through this method and art of conversation. I do have my background in music, and so that's where, and art and literature. So I love words, and talking is certainly a form of therapy, or a way I kind of get through life. And I think in learning about myself over the course of my life, I've found actually a lot more as transformation occurs when I can hear others, and the enlightenment I can get from understanding, and just this remarkable thing that we all have so many different sides to ourselves, and also different things that have happened in life. That's another sort of part to the podcast, and the idea, I think, that uncovering, I will, as a host, look to have people maybe mention things that are lesser known about them, whether it's a story, a part of their journey, or even just a habit, a ritual, or a quirk, or something they love that they don't talk about it. I mean, someone could do that on the show, and I think that would be really exciting. There's, as I said, about daily habits and rituals is another thing, though, in the practical aspect. I would, I think, speaking about mental health and just getting through life, without going crazy in a world that, ever more so seems to be a place that there's so many questions, and what's going on, what the hell is going on, but with a simple sharing, how different individuals, whether it's through a daily ritual of something like a meditation, or different modes of health, I will talk about stuff like this, in the way that people, when they're talking and sharing their ideas, that in a podcast format, there's so much that can sort of unfold and come out that you wouldn't realize is there to just, that's the goal, sort of thing. Like I know that I will be asking guests about music, and there's going to be ideas of talking about songs that fill you with courage, or maybe particular themes on particular episodes, and looking at it from that sort of way that music moves you. But it's also, say, allowing it to naturally be whatever particular episode's going to be. And already, I've got about 3 out already, and they've been with people who are quite close to me, and it's not always going to be, that's not always going to be the format, but it is a diverse range of guests that still have diverse lives and interests. So there's much to explore. And it's
yeah,
fun.
I love that, and I think because of your creative background, you probably have that more like just let it flow and just like almost like jam it out, like see what comes out in the podcast. That's the kind of feeling that I get. And when you said about, you know, you might ask them more quirky things, you know, sometimes in podcasts people can be quite like strict on their content or specific questions or always have a plan. But I think it sounds like you're going to, you know, like wing it. And sometimes they're the most deep, raw conversations and the funniest, right? So it sounds really fun.
Yeah, and I mean, also, I will be broadcasting generally from my place, which is actually located at one of the oldest and most beautiful music studios in the Adelaide Hills here. So that's a luxury that I have that I'm just really excited to sort of utilize. And when it comes to, say, maybe musical elements of the show, then that part can sort of change it up every now and then. There might be a song or two and that sort of thing. But as well, the other parts of when it says different sides of people, I could have someone on who say is maybe a martial arts expert, but that won't necessarily be the entire content of the show. I could have on, you know, someone who's a chef who's not actually just going to talk about chefing the whole time. Maybe, you know, I've already got a guest lined up who's a chef, but he loves podcasts like so much that I imagine we could talk about podcasts the whole time, even though I was like, oh, can you come on? Because you're, and I think that's going to be where as I say, maybe there's gold in there, because for a listener and just for how we can share in the world, I think that's where the reflections can come. And hopefully it's in a healing way. Once I go back to what some of the others have said too, and that transformation, it really is a time like that in the world. And I feel like Face the Strange will definitely still be about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you said about, you know, you asked him because he was a chef, but actually you could talk to him about podcasting. It's like so many people are like onions. I would always describe them to patients. We have all these different layers, but sometimes people only see the outer layer, right? And yet we wear all these different hats. And so it sounds like you're going to dig deep and find out what everyone's really truly about and share a little bit more of their inner core. So yeah, that's super exciting. I'm so happy. And please, everyone, check out Luca's podcast. Again, we will send the links all below. And so then it is over to Mel to come and introduce me finally. So there you go, Mel.
Oh, yes, it is your turn after chatting to everyone about their podcast. It is time to shine the spotlight on our lovely Dr. Amy. So a little bit about Dr. Amy. She is a medical doctor and she helps visionaries go from burnout to purpose-driven and highly productive. And we all need you, Dr. Amy. So Dr. Amy has also worked throughout the world in internal general medicine, and as an enthusiastic advocate for holistic healthcare. She has a passion for sharing with people about preventive health measures through nutrition and our lifestyle. She is qualified in lifestyle medicine, functional medicine, integrative medicine. She is a nutritionist, personal trainer, yoga teacher, and Reiki master. And she leads with a heart, as we can see. Dr. Amy also motivates as much as she educates and blends East and Western medicine to put you back in the driver's seat so you can live your life with purpose. That sounds absolutely amazing, Amy. Can you tell us now a little bit about your podcast?
Yes, I can. It feels weird someone else hosting when you've just hosted. But yes, I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, this has been quite a journey. I always have had a passion to share holistic viewpoints. I believe that a bit like what we've all discussed is that there's a time for change. And now more than ever, there's a change in the medical system. And I feel like I'm a lateral thinker. I'm curious. I ask questions and I guinea pig myself on everything. And that's why my CV is long, because I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. And I suppose this podcast it's called the Dr. Amy podcast. It is what, you know, it says on the tin. It's me interviewing health experts, but health experts that are not only sharing from a physical, medical perspective, but also from a spiritual, emotional, yeah, from all of those things, mental side of things. So you're going to see, you know, viewpoints on lifestyle medicine. You're going to see viewpoints on things like medical intuition, which you would probably never hear a doctor talk about. So there's like nothing is out of bounds on this podcast, and that's why it's called Unnumbered. It's meant to be that you're not another number. You're not another number on a medical chart. You're not another number in a hospital bed. You have a personalized healthcare plan. You're unique, you're rare, you're really individual. And I believe that all of us have the responsibility to take our health into our own hands. So yes, so it was going to be sharing with some incredible speakers. I've already had some awesome people on, and yeah, I'm hoping to share maybe every twice a week, I would hope, maybe start once a week and then go from there. And yeah, and I already feel there's going to be so many opportunities just meeting all of you and incredible people like yourselves. It just feels really exciting. There's some creative juice that's been flowing through me. So yeah, so I'm super excited.
Sounds absolutely wonderful. And from your title alone, Unnumbered, it is so intriguing and sounds so interesting. It's not just going to give us a whole picture about our holistic health and wellness, but we are going to be able to look at ourselves as a unique person. So speaking of uniqueness, Dr. Amy, what is unique about your podcast? So we know out there's a lot of health and wellness podcasts, but looking at you, you're so special and unique yourself. What are you going to bring to the table that is going to make you shine and it's going to make you different from everyone else?
I think being honest and raw and transparent and sharing my obstacles. I think sometimes we put the medical teams on a bit of a pedestal and think that they've got everything all together and they're really congruent. But I'm really, yeah, I have my own troubles and I'm perfectly imperfect, and I'm a normal woman that struggles with everyday life and the expectations of my family and my friends and my partner, and you know, I have my ups and downs, and I'm very happy to share that, because if that inspires one person, then that's my job done. So that's the difference I think I'll bring to the table.
Sounds amazing. So Dr. Amy helps us from the heart, and it's going to definitely be a podcast from her heart. Amazing. We cannot wait to hear more from you. So it is back to you, Dr. Amy. Thank you so much for sharing. That is Unnumbered. Remember, everybody, we're going to be listening to more of Dr. Amy on that wonderful podcast.
I love Mel's voice. Like, I'm just sitting here, like, you can tell that you've been in broadcasting. It's just like, it's so smooth.
You're not now.
It's amazing. It's so good. So that is all of our guest speakers. I will bring everyone back up on here. So yeah, that is all of our speakers. So you have heard from Mel, you've heard from Luca, you've heard from Heni, Mickael, and Dr. Marsha. We are so happy to have you all on here. We are so glad that you have listened to this. Please watch the replay if you haven't watched all of this. Please have a look at all the links. And if you have liked what you've seen, it would be incredible if you could give a thumbs up. It'd be incredible if you could give us a really good rating and a lovely review and have a listen. Because the reality is there are algorithms, there are things that push things. We really appreciate having your help and basically getting our message out there. So please do your best. We thank you so, so much. And from the bottom of our hearts, we really hope that you become empowered and educated and inspired by everything that we come to share with you. Have a lovely day or evening wherever you are in the world.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.